Welcome, my political friends of the interwebs, and welcome to an edition of peanut eating. Welcome to the peanut gallery. For those of you who watch my Mad Bad Voodoo channel, you'll know that Cutlerylover sent me this awesome buck knife as a gift. Cutlerylover is the man. Awesome dude. Well, when he sent me the gift, he used these peanuts as packing material. Now, a lot of you know, excuse me, I got a little peanut down the wrong hole. A lot of you know this awesome ammo can here with the Mad Bad Voodoo channel logo on it. That was a gift from USN Doc. And USN Doc used what we all use, and that is these kind of peanuts, which are absolutely horrible for the environment. I don't know what they're made of, but my guess is they are some kind of petrochemical. That would be my guess. I don't know that that's a fact, but I bet you anything that's exactly what they are, some kind of derivative of oil. Okay, now why did he use that? Well, because that's pretty much the accepted, that's what people use. Cutlerylover, though, Jeff is on a different plane than the rest of us mere mortals. He's seen an opportunity to use peanuts as a green alternative. Because let's be honest, these things, they're just not really tasty. These things, these are tasty. Now, I have to admit, I really kind of like the salted ones a little better. These are unsalted, but I'm sure Jeff was thinking of my high blood pressure when he said this. All right, so what's this got to do with politics? Well, I want to make a couple points here, and you guys can all chime in the comment section and let me know what you think. Point number one: nobody had to force Jeff to go green. The government didn't have to subsidize his buying of peanuts. There didn't have to be any fines imposed on the manufacture of these. Okay? Jeff did it because he's seen an opportunity to use a green product to serve a purpose. And he did it. And truthfully, these as packing material are every bit as effective as these. Okay? But Jeff didn't have to be forced. He did it. He did the right thing. And I think all Americans, given the choice, would do the right thing. So why is it that the government feels the need to try to pass some tax scheme, cap and trade, cap and tax, whatever you want to call it, to force people to do what they consider is the right thing? Now, truthfully, my feelings about that, it's all about the money. But let's just assume it wasn't. I mean, it's all about the money to the politicians, but to the government. But it's not all about the money to the environmentalists that push this nonsense. And by the way, more often than not, when we listen to and follow environmentalists, they lead us right down a rat hole. Let me give you a quick point, a quick example. Okay? When I was a kid, and I've told this story before, so if you've heard it, you know where I'm going with this. When I was a kid, you went to a grocery store, you had paper. Your groceries were put into paper sacks, grocery sacks. And then at some point, I don't know how old I was, maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, that became evil. The environmentalists were always up in arms about it. Oh, you're cutting the trees down, blah, blah, blah. And they wanted you to switch to this. Plastic. They looked down at you if you used the evil paper bags, because you were killing trees. So everybody was pretty much shamed and browbeat into using plastic. The stores, because the environmentalists were boycotting and all this other craziness, completely did away with their paper bags and bowed to the nonsense from the Greenies, the progressives of their day. 30 years later, guess what? This shit is a hell of a lot more or worse on the environment than the paper. I could have told him that, and I was just a kid. You know. So we followed the environmentalists right down the rat hole. Now, how many of these things are in landfills, waterways? They don't biodegrade for 1 billion years. Oh, now the environmentalists are not going to take credit for that because that's the way they are. You'll never see a lefty ever admit that they were wrong. It won't happen. They'll change the subject long before they admit that they were wrong. So, you know, once again, Jeff did not have to be subsidized. He did not get a break on his postage to do this, to go green. And as you can tell, I'm doing a pretty good job of recycling the packing material. You know? So, tell me in the comments section, what do you think about that? You know? I guess it was a straight question there, but let me go on further. Nobody had to subsidize Henry Ford and the Ford Auto factories. And at the time, there was an awful lot of people that were employed and making their money from buggy whip factories and carriage factories and horse stables, and there's a whole laundry list of industry that revolved around the horse and that mode of transportation. The fact of the matter is that Henry Ford brought out a more competitive, cheaper, reliable source of transportation, and people went to it. The government didn't have to subsidize. The government didn't have to play any role in it whatsoever. Americans will always gravitate to the best. That's just a fact. If wind and solar were superior alternatives, real logical alternatives, the government wouldn't have to do jack squat. People would flock to it. But wind and solar is not a legitimate alternative. There is no quote-unquote alternative fuel source right now that's capable of replacing coal-burning power plants, nuclear power plants, gas-fired power plants. It just doesn't exist. And no matter how much you subsidize it, that's not going to change anything. And no matter how much you try to penalize people for using those powers, it's not going to change anything. It's just not. I know a lot of people would like it to, but it's just not. We've been subsidizing wind and solar and other alternative fuels in this country for 30 years. Literally. For 30 years, your tax dollars have went to subsidize these programs. And these new green jobs, that's the biggest crock of shit ever. The fact of the matter is this. Those green jobs are hugely subsidized. None of them can float on their own. It's impossible. None of them are making any money. The way they make money is off the taxpayer. Now, eventually, that money is going to run out. Now, you take an industry like coal, for example. You know what? It's a product that works. They get it to market. The coal-burning power plants generate electricity at a decent price. They sell it to the public at a profit. Nobody has to subsidize jack squat. You take a wind farm, and the majority of their money is coming from the tax dollars. It's not sustainable. Because when the tax dollars run out, the wind farm quits making electricity. That's just a fact. So we're going to put all of our eggs into a government-subsidized entity that isn't even capable of replacing the traditional power manufacturing. We're going to do that. You know, I mean, how insane is that? Anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think. Am I making any sense here? Because I may have ate too many peanuts. Jeff, once again, thank you, my friend. You are a prince among men. I mean, seriously, you are a prince among men. Yeah. Maybe you live a very long and prosperous life. Anyway, everybody else out there, take care.